Florida's beaches still look alive. The sand is white, the water is clear. Tourists arrive by the million, but the shoreline is already failing, and over 900 miles of coastline depend on a material the state is running out of. What looks like seasonal erosion is really supply collapse, and the losses spread from there. That one visible sign already tells you the system is changing underneath. Florida is not losing beaches to storms alone. It is losing the sand itself, the raw material that makes the barrier work. And without it, the entire coastline becomes an engineered illusion that looks recreational on the surface, while operating like an emergency project underneath. By the end of this case file, you will understand exactly how that cutoff happens, and why the surface gives you no warning before it does. We view Florida beaches as natural features, but through a forensic lens, Florida beaches are not natural anymore. They are maintenance projects, temporary fronts rebuilt every few years, with material that is becoming harder to find, more expensive to move, and less reliable to hold. The system is not eroding. It is consuming itself. Look at the width of a Florida beach after a major storm. Hurricane Ian erased entire stretches of shoreline in hours, not through gradual retreat, but through sudden erasure. Sand that had been placed there by crews and dredges vanished into deep water beyond the continental shelf, pulled so far offshore that it became physically unrecoverable. That is not storm damage. That is system failure. The beach is supposed to act as a buffer, absorbing wave energy and protecting the infrastructure behind it. But when the buffer itself depends on a supply chain, and that supply chain is breaking, the visible beach becomes the symptom of a deeper resource crisis. The state has spent over $1.3 billion on beach nourishment since the 1960s, pumping millions of cubic yards of sand onto eroding coastlines. The fix works for a few years, then the sand washes away, and the cycle starts again. But now the cycle is stalling, not because the state lacks money, but because it is running out of sand. Miami-Dade County has officially exhausted its accessible offshore sand deposits. There is no more material within viable dredging range. The sand that once sat on the continental shelf in neat, mappable deposits has already been mined, moved, and lost to storms. What remains is either too deep, too far, or protected by environmental restrictions that prevent extraction. The state is not running out of beaches. It is running out of the material that makes beaches possible. And without that material, the coastline becomes a line of properties with no barrier in front of them. That is the first concept. The second is, what happens when the supply shifts inland? With offshore sources depleted, Florida has turned to a new model: trucking. Fleets of thousands of dump trucks now haul sand from inland mines to the coast, one load at a time. The sand comes from old riverbeds, fossil dunes, and limestone quarries, places that were never part of the coastal system. It is expensive, it is slow, and it does not behave the same way once it reaches the shore. Sand is not interchangeable. Coastal sand has a specific grain size, shape, and color, properties that determine how it packs, how it drains, and how long it stays in place. If the replacement sand is too coarse, it washes away immediately. If it is too fine, it becomes soupy and unstable. If it is too dark, it absorbs more heat and can cook sea turtle eggs in their nests, raising temperatures high enough to kill entire clutches. The state must match the original sand almost perfectly, or the nourishment fails within months. This is the Goldilocks problem, and it is narrowing the supply even further. Not all sand works. Not all deposits are accessible. And the ones that do work are being consumed faster than they can be surveyed and permitted. We watch the beach width hold. We watch the colors stay bright. But underneath, the system is operating on borrowed material. That borrowed material is not renewing. It is not migrating back from the ocean. It is not washing in from rivers. The active coastal sand system, the natural cycle that used to move sediment along the shore and rebuild beaches after storms, no longer contains enough material to function. Florida's coastline has been engineered so heavily that the sand no longer circulates. Man-made shipping channels act like drains, swallowing sediment and preventing it from traveling downdrift to replenish neighboring beaches. Jetties and groins trap sand on one side and starve the other. Seawalls block the natural landward migration of dunes, forcing the beach into a narrower and narrower strip. The sand is not disappearing into nothing. It is being pulled into deep water, locked behind structures, or buried under development. And the state is trying to replace it, one truckload at a time. But that is not the only loss here. The third concept is permanence. Once a beach is artificially nourished, it must be renourished every 3 to 7 years, forever. The process is not a one-time repair. It is a subscription. The sand does not stay. The waves do not stop. The storms do not ease. Every hurricane season resets the clock, and every reset costs more because the available sand is farther away, harder to extract, and more tightly regulated. Florida is not rebuilding its beaches. It is renting them. And the rental cost is rising, while the inventory shrinks. Take the Panhandle, where the sand is pure quartz, fine and white, unlike anything else on the coast. That sand cannot be replaced with crushed shell or limestone aggregate from the south. It has to be quartz. And quartz deposits are rare, protected, and nearly exhausted. When a Panhandle beach erodes, the state cannot simply truck in generic sand. It has to find a geologically compatible source, negotiate permits, test the material, and hope it holds. If it does not, the beach fails, and the next storm pushes water directly into the buildings behind it. The system also shows that the coastline is trapped. Beaches need space to migrate. When sea levels rise or storms push sand landward, a healthy beach moves with it, retreating inland and rebuilding on higher ground. But Florida's beaches cannot retreat. There are hotels, condos, roads, and seawalls blocking the path. The sand is squeezed between a rising ocean and a fixed concrete wall. And when it has nowhere to go, it simply disappears. This is called coastal squeeze, and it is the hydraulic logic of a beach that cannot function as a beach anymore. It can only function as a barrier, and barriers that cannot move eventually break. The fourth concept is invisibility. A tourist standing on a Florida beach in summer sees width, color, and calm water. That surface is not lying, but it is not telling the whole story either. The visible beach may look wide, but the underwater slope is often dangerously steep, a sign that the sand is not accumulating naturally, but has been dumped in place and is already starting to slide into deeper water. The beach may look bright, but that brightness is the result of a recent nourishment project, not a sign of system health. The color fades, The width shrinks, and by the time the next storm arrives, the buffer is already thinner than it appears. Look at it this way. The beach is not recovering between storms anymore. It is being rebuilt between storms. And the rebuilding is taking longer, costing more, and delivering less. The interval between nourishment projects is shrinking. The volume of sand required is increasing, and the sources are running out. What looks like maintenance is really a failing defense, and the failure is accelerating. The state is now facing a crisis where major hurricanes are arriving faster than the permitting process can authorize new sand. A storm hits. The beach vanishes. The county applies for emergency funds. The federal government reviews the request. Engineers survey potential sand sources. Environmental agencies assess the impact on reefs, turtle nests, and seagrass beds. Contracts are bid. Dredges are scheduled. And by the time the sand arrives, another storm is already forming. The cycle is breaking because the system was never designed to operate under this level of demand. It was designed for occasional repairs, not continuous replacement. And continuous replacement is now the only model that works. Finally, we have to look at what this means for the people who live there. Florida's coastline supports $600 billion in property value. That value assumes the beach will always be there, protecting the buildings, buffering the waves, and absorbing the storm surge. But the beach is no longer a permanent feature. It is a temporary layer, and that layer is thinning. The state is not hiding this. The maps are public. Over 900 miles of Florida's 1,350 miles of coastline are officially classified as critically eroding. That is not a projection. That is the current condition, measured and documented. And the response is not to restore the system. The response is to keep rebuilding the same line over and over, with less material, at higher cost, and with shorter intervals between failures. You, the viewer, should watch the beach width after the next major storm. If it narrows significantly and does not recover within a season, that is not natural erosion. That is supply failure. The sand is not coming back because there is no sand left in the system to come back. Watch for trucking operations, long convoys of dump trucks moving inland material to the coast. That is not a repair. That is a symptom of exhausted offshore deposits. Watch for color mismatches, sections of beach that look darker or coarser than the surrounding sand. That is imported material, and it will not stay as long as the original. Watch for renourishment schedules. If a beach was nourished 5 years ago and is being nourished again, the interval is shortening. And if the interval is shortening, the system is losing ground. So here's the answer to the question from the beginning. This is how 900 miles of coastline get cut off. The state runs out of sand to rebuild the barrier, storms erase what is left, and the properties behind the beach lose their buffer, exposing them to direct wave action, storm surge, and flooding that the beach was designed to absorb. That is not a projection. That is the system working exactly as it is currently built. Florida's beaches are not dead yet, but that is the point. They still look alive. They still draw crowds. They still generate revenue. But underneath, they are operating on a supply chain that is breaking, a material reserve that is nearly empty, and a maintenance model that cannot keep pace with the demand. The coastline is not collapsing all at once. It is thinning, section by section, storm by storm, until the buffer is gone and the buildings stand alone. The 900 miles of people who depend on this sand do not see the mechanism. They see the surface. Now you do.